Good afternoon and welcome to an episode of SEM Session. I'm your co-host, Bobby Massa.
I'm Riley Farbaugh, and if you haven't joined us before, these SEM sessions are an uncut, unedited, bi-weekly or actually twice weekly video series and future podcasts once we rip this audio off.
That's right.
Where we teach you guys how you can attract more customers to your brand through search marketing. This is the 11th episode of SEM Sessions, and today we're going to be talking about SEO and UX considerations for e-commerce businesses.
So what are some aspects when designing an e-commerce website that go hand in hand as far as SEO and UX?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, SEO and UX have a lot of overlaps with any type of business, not just e-commerce. But I think we could go for hours if we talked about all businesses and UX in total. So today we're trying to constrain the discussion to e-commerce and specifically what you can do on your homepage to improve the user experience, the SEO, conversion rate optimization, and really just how to build a homepage for your e-commerce site that attracts users, retains users, and converts users, right? That's our thing at Verde Media, attract, convert, and retain. So, we're going to do our best to talk about that. And let's start it off with site speed. So, Bobby, we were doing some competition analyses this morning, looking at optimization speeds using Pingdom and Google's Page Speed Insights tools. What did you learn from kind of looking at those analyses?
I just learned simple little things like the size of a graph or even a little insert at the bottom of your web page can really affect the download time for your website, and you want to be checking both how it downloads on a desktop and how it downloads on mobile, because those can change with regards to formatting. It just seems like it's not exactly what you think. It's not necessarily that having higher quality content or a higher quality website will make it slower. It's just little bugs like image sizes.
Yeah, exactly. And if you can, try to serve different size images on desktop than on mobile, right? Because the screen resolution on mobile, it's going to max out at some point, and there's a diminishing return on the quality of your image. After a certain point, is a user going to be able to tell the difference between a 5 megabyte image and a 2 megabyte image?
That's true. And also consider when they're loading the page on their phone, let's say they found the ad, while searching through Google, they might be kind of in a rush. So they might just be like, screw that page and go into the next one. So this results in, in getting clicks to your website. It's not just about, whether or not you're making somebody wait or not.
Right, so slow load times result in bounces. What's called pogo sticking, right? If someone searches for something, they click on your website and then they don't find what they want and they go back to search results and keep looking, that's really bad for your organic rankings because, Google's going to start ranking the sites below you that people are clicking on higher than you're ranked. Mm-hmm. So not only is it a concern from an attribution standpoint, but also a retention standpoint, because if they lose your website, if they leave your website, they're not coming back.
True. That's very true.
We recently built an e-commerce site for a client, and one of their requests was that we include an Instagram integration on their homepage. And we did that, and we found out that it slowed the site down pretty significantly. And there was no way to compress those images, or no easy way to compress those images from Instagram's API. So in this individual circumstance, we ended up actually removing these images from the homepage purely due to concerns over site load times.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's about balancing, the content that you want to have on the page and the load time, and what that's going to mean for ultimately your bottom line. So what are some other aspects of this that we should compare between user experience and SEO, do you think?
Well, before we dig into the specifics, let's think about what a good e-commerce homepage does, right? So you want to display products, You want to tell your story as a brand. You want to make it immediately clear when someone lands on your site what your business is about. And you want to facilitate easy navigation to products, really, because at some point in the buying cycle, someone has to go to a product page. They won't convert if they're not on a product page. So that's a good indication of how far down the funnel someone is towards purchase. Is did they get to a product page?
That's right, and you want to make it easy for them to purchase from your website. Don't make them click like 5 different times. It's just obvious if they're looking for a certain product and your product comes up, then you've done exactly what your job is, that you've gotten them to the results they want. So don't make it more difficult than it has to be.
Exactly. So let's go into internal linking and user navigation a little bit from the homepage. So you want links to product pages. You want to display some of your top products on your homepage and facilitate easy navigation to those pages. That's going to help SEO towards the specific product. It's going to help the user experience because, if you're putting your most popular products in front of someone, they're going to enjoy the site more, assuming they like the product. And if they don't like the product, they're probably in the wrong place, right? And then you also want internal links to category pages because not only is that going to help with SEO, but if someone lands on your e-commerce site for, they're searching for a computer, send them to the computer category page, right? Maybe you want to display a certain model that's selling really well or that's really popular, but ultimately, most people when they're browsing are not looking for a specific product, they're looking for a category page where they can see multiple products. So link internally to your top products, link internally to your top categories, link internally to your about page, facilitate easy navigation to there so that people can learn more about your brand. If there's anything unique about your brand that you have content pages for, maybe it's your mission statement or, a lot of businesses nowadays have a social impact baked into their mission. Mm-hmm. So, with SAP, it was the Hour Commitment page. With Vermont Woods, it's, maybe it's on the About Us page. I don't know.
Right.
So, work those aspects of the brand into the homepage because they're selling points at the end of the day, right? They're unique selling points. So include your selling points on your homepage, links to products, links to categories, About Us. What else do you need on your homepage, Bobby? Can you think of anything?
I would say you definitely want your business location in the footer.
That's a great point.
I know it's a little specific, but that's just the one that came right to my head.
Yeah, so with any business, and especially businesses that serve a local audience, they especially are going to want to have a consistent name, address, phone number, not only in their footer, but across citations on the web. And for local business, I would even suggest using a Google Map integration. I don't know that I would suggest a Google Map in the footer for an e-commerce business, but certainly name, address, phone number, without a doubt, should be in the footer of any website ever. It should just be standard in any website template.
Definitely. With full consistency, of course.
Yeah. So we talked about products, categories. Let's touch on the footer. So we just briefly talked about name, address, phone number.
Right.
It's also a good idea to provide a secondary navigation menu in your footer, right? You have your main navigation menu in your header, and that's maybe more detailed. You go to Home Depot, Wayfair, these big sites that offer thousands of SKUs. All of those categories and subcategories are accessible from the main navigation menu. But then if you look at their footer, their subcategories may not be accessible, but without failure, their big categories are accessible in their footer.
Right. The footer's kind of like a watered down version of the categories up in the header. So you don't get the full sort of access that you do up top, but you definitely can find what you're looking for.
And again, this is both from an SEO standpoint and a UX standpoint. You want your footer to facilitate easy navigation for users and bots. So I guess the last thing I want to touch on is your header, right? We just briefly touched on the main navigation menu. You want to be very comprehensive in your, every category and subcategory that you offer should be accessible via your main nav, because, Bobby, you touched a little bit earlier on page depth, right? You don't want to make someone go through 10 clicks to get to the content that they're looking for. Having all the categories in your main nav makes all those pages just one click away from any page on the website.
That's right. You want to reduce the degree of separation from the homepage.
Exactly. Plus, as a bot that's crawling your website, right? Imagine it's a spider and it multiplies as it comes to links. So rather than crawling, one link down and going level by level, it's actually going to come to your homepage and multiply towards every internal link on your homepage. Every internal link in your header, your footer, that bot's going to crawl all of them. So the fewer clicks away that you are at any given time from important content, the easier it's going to be to discover for a bot and for a human. And that's good for everyone.
Right. That's exactly where user experience and SEO come together.
So I think that was a pretty good episode. I hope you guys took home some pointers. I guess we'll summarize really quick. Make sure your site loads quickly. You don't want to be slow. You're going to lose visitors. You're going to lose rankings, and it's going to be bad for your business. Be comprehensive in your main navigation menu. Subcategories, categories, even relevant content that someone may want to find on your website. If you have content that provides value to someone, make sure it's in your main navigation menu. Internal linking on the homepage. You want links to categories, products, about us, and any other, again, content that is valuable to a searcher or a user already on your site. And then in the footer, NAP, and links to category pages or services if you're a service business. Again, we're focusing on e-commerce. So I think that pretty much sums it up, and we're going to wrap it up. But I hope you guys tune back in next week, and that's it.
Have a good one, guys.